everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower, our Winter Spectacular, woohoo, where we are talking about the best stuff from 2020. Today, I'm talking about my top 10 expansions. Now, this is interesting. I actually don't think 2020 was an amazing year for expansions. I think there was some good ones out there for sure. And, of course, there's a lot of expansions I didn't play. There's an expansion that some of you are probably assuming is on a list here, which is the Oceania Wingspan expansion, but I haven't played that as of me recording this list. It's sitting on the table out there, and I will play it soon, but I just got it. So, not counting Wingspan, and probably many others, here are the 10 best expansions that I played this year. Number 10, we have Dominion Menagerie. Now, this expansion has a few things I didn't like in it. There was some animal cards you could add, but man, there was so many good cards. Dominion, to me, has had a bit of a curve. When Dominion first came out, the cards were pretty basic, and they kept making them more complex, and then they got less complex and easier to throw into games. And there's a lot of really cool cards in Dominion Menagerie that allow you to do that are just simplistic additions. Yes, the theme is still kind of whatever. Oh, there are animal cards, and there's horses, and most of the animals are on the extra stuff. But there's a lot of cards. Whenever I get a new expansion, I pick and choose which cards I'm going to be adding into my big Dominion collection. And there were several that I'll be adding from Dominion Menagerie. Number 9 is Monumental: The Lost Kingdoms. Now, Monumental is a big, grandiose game of deck building and also fighting on a map to some degree, or area control, a little bit of combat. And it has deck building done in a way I've not seen before, where you're putting things in a grid. What the Lost Kingdoms did was it just added a couple more fantastical stuff. You know, the original game had Egyptians, and now we have Atlantis here in the expansion, and added more factions. But Monumental's a game where I like having a nice spread of factions. So having these more factions with their cool miniatures and a few other minor things made this an expansion that for me was a must get, because I kind of like the more choices that it offered me. Number 8 is Starcadia Quest: Build a Robot. Now, Starcadia Quest is a follow-up to Arcadia Quest. Arcadia Quest was fantasy. Starcadia Quest is in the stars. Fantastic. Starcadia Quest kind of is a better version of Arcadia Quest to me. But Arcadia Quest had the little pets expansion, which I like, these little pets that ran around. Starcadia Quest decided to up the ante on that and have these little robots. But not just little robots, you actually built them and put them together in different pieces, and then the pieces you put together would change their powers and how they worked. Well, that was a pretty cool concept. Not as amazing as I thought it would be, and it's not something that you need to have with the base game, but A, they're very cute little robots that you're playing with, and B, it does add fun and gives you some more variety to the game. So that's Starcadia Quest: Build a Robot. Number 7 is Imperial Settlers: Empires of the North Barbarian Hordes, which is a really long name. Now, part of this is, hey, it's just more Imperial Settlers. Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North, which I should just call Empires of the North, since it's a different game than Imperial Settlers. It's confusing. So Empires of the North comes with multiple decks, and you play these different decks against each other. It's a great game. I'm really surprised at how much I like it. Barbarians of the North is just a few more factions here. But the factions are so neat. The one uses ships to go out. The other one has about as close to a take that mechanism as you might want in the game, which is really neat, and it was just fun. I think they're my 2 favorite factions so far. I haven't played the Roman ones that came out this year, so maybe it would be them. But the 2 barbarian factions are my favorite 2 of the game. Now, again, I'll gladly play almost any faction in Empires of the North. But Empires of the North Barbarian Hordes is my number 7. Number 6 is Smartphone Incorporated Status Update 1.1. Status Update 1.1. Now, this is not a big deal here. It adds some new stuff to the game, some new technologies and things. The biggest thing is, though, it adds an extra board for 2 to 3 players. Smartphone is a good game. I think it's best with 4, pretty good with 5. With 2 or 3, not as solid. This expansion makes it better, has a smaller, tighter board if you don't want to put out all those things. I liked it. I think it's a simple addition, and happily, it's easy to throw in with the normal game and play. But the little modules are nice too, and the 2 to 3 player board, though, is great. Number 5 is Tapestry: Plans and Ploys. Now, Tapestry was the most hyped game probably of 2019. It probably ended up losing to another game from the same company, which would be Wingspan. But Tapestry, a 4X Civilization game, which was not really 4X or Civilization, but yeah, it was a fun game. I enjoyed it, but it certainly got a lot of hype. Well, this expansion adds more stuff. That is all we ever asked for in an expansion, or that's all I ever asked for. More stuff, more civilizations. It also gave you a fix sheet for the original civilizations. Well, that's a different story. But adding more civilizations, adding some unique things that each civilization is trying to do, some extra buildings that players can build, just very minor things to the point where you could easily throw this in to the base game. People wouldn't even know it was an expansion. There's just more things to pick from, and I'm always a big fan of that. So Tapestry plans employees. Number 4 almost got forgotten. Played this at the very beginning of the year in our 24-hour marathon, and that's Downforce Wild Ride. Downforce Wild Ride is an expansion for the great racing betting game Downforce. This one just gets crazy. There's the one side which attracted me to it, where there's ramps, and you're jumping over these ramps and jumping over spots. You have to land them at a certain speed and jump your cars. Crazy and fun. But actually, it was the other side. I mean, I like the ramp side. The other side of the board where animals are running across and getting in front of cars. It's my favorite map of the game. I just found it to be very fun. As you go, these elephants are walking in front of the cars racing. That's a fun concept, but it also is a mechanically sound one, and one that I enjoyed a lot. Number 3 is Twilight Imperium 4, Prophecy of Kings. When Twilight Imperium 4th edition came out, we said, where is this? Where is that? Where is this? Fantasy Flight said, don't worry, this is enough. You'll never need an expansion. Everyone said, sure, Fantasy Flight, where's the expansion? Well, it came out this year. And it's a lot of stuff. Now, happily, it's like 2 pages of rules. That's a big deal. A ton of factions, leaders, adds mechs, it adds more planets. Hope's End is back. Hallelujah. And just a lot of cool stuff, which adds more to the decision making. But more importantly, it adds to the asymmetricalness of the game. Because players now have a player power and a flagship that's different than everybody else. But they also have a mech that's different than everybody else. They have leaders that are different than everybody else. And there's just a lot going on in the game for that. And I found it to be a lot of fun. It really adds to it. I'm not going to play Twilight Imperium 4 all the time, but if I do, I want to play with the expansion. Number 2 is Project Elite Rook Team. Project Elite is a cooperative game where we're all running together, working against these hordes coming in. What Rook does is it puts people in these giant mech suits. Makes you uber powerful. Also makes the aliens harder. So you got to kind of say, am I adding more aliens? Is it okay if I'm going to play with these giant suits to make up to have more aliens come in? Who cares? It is a ton of fun. I really like it. Project Elite, of course, being a game, I think it's fantastic. Having this stuff makes it even better. And then my number 1 expansion for 2020 is the Funkoverse Back to the Future, which is kind of a cheat here because I could just say Funkoverse. Now, when Funkoverse first came out last year, I was excited about it. Hey, a new game where you could take these little Funko Pops and you could fight DC against Harry Potter against the Golden Girls. Ha ha ha! And I said, well, this is all well and good, but I better see some more sets of this coming out. Oh my word, today they could stop now and there's enough stuff. But this year we got more Golden Girls, we got more DC, we got Game of Thrones, we got more Harry Potter, we got the Kool-Aid Man, and we got my favorite, which was Back to the Future. Back to the Future is my favorite character in the game. In fact, you can go back and look. I did my top 10 Funkoverse people this year, so go check those out. The different characters in Funkoverse, the whole thing is a ton of fun. So I'm just saying all the different expansions for Funkoverse. It's now a fully fledged game, and it is now the new Heroescape, in my opinion, even if they don't come out with any more expansions, which I'm sure they will do. So there you go. Those are my 10 favorite expansions from the year 2020. Obviously with the caveat that I haven't played them all yet. More will be on the way, and who knows what will happen. But I think there's a lot of cool, good stuff here. Let me know what your favorites are in the comments. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Winter Spectacular on the Dice Tower.